Quicksort Algorithm. Quicksort, as the name suggests, it is clearly visible that it is the fastest sorting algorithms for large data sets. Quicksort is divide and conquer algorithm that recursively breaks a list of data into successively smaller sublists consisting of the smaller elements and the larger elements. The algorithm continues this process until all the data in the list is sorted. The algorithm divides the list into sublists by selecting one element of the list which is called as the pivot or the pivot element. Data is sorted around the pivot, moving elements less than pivot to the bottom of the list and the elements that are greater than pivot to the top of the list. Now beginning here in this diagram you can see I have an array with values 44, 75, 23, 43, 55, 12, 64, 77 and 33. The original array is this format and I would consider my pivot element to be 44. Now what I do? I sort my elements in such a way that elements are sorted like keeping 44 in between, and towards the left side of 44 will be all the elements which are lesser than 44, and towards the right side all the elements will be greater than 44. So it will be here you can easily see 23, 12, 43, 33 are the elements which are less than the pivot elements, whereas 75, 55, 64 and 77 are greater than the pivot elements. This 44 element will be considered as a middle array because here you can clearly see that it has two distinguished sublists, one which is less than 44, another one which is greater than 44. It splits into sub-arrays on either side of the pivot values, say 23 and 75. So in this way it splits. Now here it starts doing the same thing. For first list it again checks 23 as the pivot element and keeps 23 in such a way that it will be again split into two parts, one with the value which is less than 23 and one with the value which is greater than 23. And accordingly it keeps on splitting even for the right sublist. And after all the procedure, we have the sorted arrays. We'll have 4 groups over here because we have 8 elements. So it will sort 20, 12, 23, 33, 43, 55, 75, 64, 77. So I will combine all the 4 sublists or the sub arrays together. So array after concentrating right side to the left side, we'll get the sorted list as 12, then 23, then 33, then 43, then 55, 75, 64 and 77. So this is how Quicksort works. Because it takes less time and keeps on sorting with various sublists, the sorting is on the higher rate, or I can say it is more faster. So the basic algorithm for Quicksort is like you have to pick a pivot element that divides the list into two sublists, reorder the list so that all the elements less than pivot are placed to the left side, whereas all the elements which are greater than pivot are placed after it, that is towards the right side. And repeat these steps on both the lists, like sublist which is less than and sublist which is greater than, in such a way that smaller elements and the list of larger elements are sorted automatically. So let's go to our code base where we'll create an HTML and JS file with respect to JavaScript implementation and check out the output what we are getting. This is my code base. Here I'll create a new file. Name of the file is quicksort.html. Here I'll create the doc type. So my doc type will be HTML. Inside this I'll specify the HTML tag, and afterwards I'll have the head tag and the title tag. Before head I'll also have the meta tag, that is meta caset UTF-8. After that I'll have, after title I'll include a title with respect to it like Quicksort Algorithm, and after this I'll have the body tag, and the body tag will include h2 tag mentioning Quicksort Algorithm example, and it will take the script tag or the script source element. Before that it will specify the type as text/JavaScript. Now it will take the source element as quicksort.js. The next step is to create this JavaScript file. So I'll create this JavaScript file over here. Here I'll say the name of the file will be quicksort.js. So I'll start with the function of quicksort. So I'll say function, my name of the function will be qsort, and it will take an array. And here I'll specify if array.length equals 0, then return blank value or blank array. On the other hand, if I get that array.length, if it is equal to 0, then automatically it will return the value. But if there is some value associated in the array, then I'll say var left equal blank array. So I'll take the blank value, and var right equals blank array. Then I'll call for my pivot element, where pivot equals array of 0. Then I'll specify for variable I equals 1, I less than array dot length I plus plus. Then I'll specify if array of I is less than pivot, then in such a scenario left dot push array of I. If I get it is less than the pivot element, then it will be pushed to the left array. On the other side, if I get the element as greater than the pivot element, then I will push in my right array. So right dot push array of I. After completing this for loop, which we have over here, I will return the value of this function as return qsort left dot concat. I'll call for concat function, where it will concat the pivot element and the qsort of right element or the right sublist. So it will concatenate in this manner. Then I'll say now where a equals blank array. Then I'll specify for where I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Here I'll say a of I equals mat.flow. Then we have mat.random as 100 plus 1. So this is like generating the random numbers inside the array with the help of mat.flow and mat.random JavaScript functions. Now I'll print this value whichever I'm getting. So I'll say console.log. I'll print a value as A. So let's go to our browser and check what value. So this is my output 1. Output 1, which prints random array values. So let's go to our browser and check what is the value we are exactly getting for A. So this is our browser. So I'm calling for Quicksort. So automatically it is getting 10 random array values with 66, 18 and so on. If I keep on reloading, I get the random values generated. Now I do a simple thing. I go inside my code base and I'll say again console.log with a blank value. And after that I say console.log qsort, and I'll enter, or I'll take the parameter of A, because qsort includes a function which takes array value and sorts it accordingly. Now I'll again recall this function. So here I can see it is sorted in this specific way. I get an array as 98, 9, 55, 51, 93, 17, 13, 21, 69, 45. Which sorts with the help of quicksort algorithm. It takes a pivot element, and accordingly here I can see if I consider 98 as my pivot element, then automatically it reaches to the point of last element because all these elements are lesser than 98. So it takes a random pivot element and accordingly it keeps a sublist, and after sorting it through n number of steps, like we have to repeat step number 1 and 2 to get the proper answer. So after repeating all the steps of 1 and 2, finally it sorts the element, like I get an output like 9, 13, 17, 21, 45, 51, 55, 69, 93 and then 98. So this was the complete implementation of quicksort algorithm. Next chapter we will be focusing about the other advanced algorithm structure, which is the final sorting algorithm called as the merge sort.